body. Please disregard. I attempted an informal greeting, but I am dissatisfied with the results.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Bloodworth's Starfield Diaries, as I'm cataloging some of my adventures through Starfield, just doing random things, wandering around across the galaxy, different places. And yeah, this one we are finally getting away from New Atlantis. We got like a little extra trip before, but this time we're going far out. Kind of starting to follow the path of the main quest, although I didn't actually. I just sort of went out to Mars. Went to Mars, went to the Sol system, home system there, and we'll get into some of that stuff a little bit more on the next episode. But yeah, I show up on Mars, checking out the environment, seeing like just kind of the way things are laid out. Find out that the city is all essentially underground. Get in there pretty much right away. I run into a guy named Trevor. And Trevor's got a weird dilemma where he's asking for help to get some mining equipment. His corporation has just been not listening. He's been saying that, like, yeah, if I get more mining equipment, I can improve our yields. But they don't want to give him more mining equipment until his yields are improved or whatever. So, you know, whatever. But this basically launches us into the theme of this episode, which is a bunch of dumb people. There are a lot of dumb people in this quest line, and Trevor's probably not one of them. Trevor's probably the best of the bunch. But yes, he kind of puts you on a bit of a wild goose chase from one thing to the next. And so the first thing he does is just have you go down there and do a little mining for him. You do a little mining for him. You get him some iron. He says, hey, good job, etc., etc. So now what we need to do is, because the corporate boss that approves all of this stuff, he is actually very incompetent, and he doesn't really do anything unless his assistant does it. And he's lost his assistant for whatever reason. I can't remember. Either she walked off or got laid off or got fired. I don't remember what happened to the old assistant. But what they're saying is because the assistant is no longer there, this guy's not getting his work done and his approvals aren't happening, right? So he doesn't check his messages. Assistant did all that for him. So what he wants you to do is to apply for the assistant job. So like, okay. But to apply for the assistant job, for some reason you have to fly up to this space station, the Deimos space station, and fill out a job application there. So okay, I fly up. I have this, remember from before, I had this whole like nightmare thing of trying to figure out how to land. I once again still had a nightmare thing of trying to figure out how to land. So I gotta remember to like actually click on the point. When you click on the point, then the option to land appears when you're close enough. Okay. Step by step. Just basic little things. A little tricky sometimes in this game. So get in there, fill out the job application. Job applications is kind of funny. You have to like answer a bunch of questions about your background and on what you would do in this situation or that situation. And then while I was there, I kind of checked out the place. They sell some military grade ships. I don't have any money for that stuff, but I kind of checked them out. But I found a mechanic, and she was homesick for New Atlantis, and she's like, man, I could really use one of Jake's beers right now. And it's like, all right, I've done my best to get away from New Atlantis, and they're dragging me back. Okay, I'll go get you one of the beers. So I just fly out to New Atlantis, go to Jake's, get her the beer, bring it back, and it really didn't amount to anything. I got 100 XP, I guess, for bringing her a beer and completing a quest, but that was that. Anyways, so thanks, Sandra. Yeah, I went back down to Mars. Before I went back to Trevor, I wandered around a little bit, just because I haven't done that much planet exploration. So I'm like, let me look around Mars. There's some like unknown, look like ruins or something. The way the icon is like, I was like, oh, it's like Stonehenge. These some crazy ruins. We'll go check it out. I get there and it's just like a basic lab that looks like 100,000 other labs. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. But so I'm wandering around this science station, checking out, but I'm still like, for all of the junk that's floating around Starfield, it's still hard for me to tell like what is actually valuable. What do I actually need to pick up and not be over encumbered? And so I kind of just left most of it there, but whatever. Went back to Trevor, and now I've told him, okay, I filled out the application. We're all good. So, but now what? Like, how am I gonna get guaranteed to get this job? He's like, okay, here's what you gotta do. You gotta hack in, and you have to delete the other applications, so you're the only application, and they're forced to hire you. Like, okay, this doesn't seem like a great plan. First of all, how do I get into their computer? I was like, okay, well, here's the thing. Yeah, the assistant who, or the HR person, whoever, she goes to party hour, not party hour, happy hour at the bar after 5 p.m. So you can just get into her computer there. And, at happy hour, she told me that, her password is just password backwards. I'm like, okay. So I go into the office, delete the other applications, get hired, and then, and so then I introduce myself to the boss. Okay, I'm like, hey, I'm your new assistant. And he starts asking you about stuff as if you had already been there. And it's like, he is so checked out that he has you confused for his previous assistant, which is hilarious. So anyways, so I start, saying, hey, let me check out, get to your terminal, check out your emails. I forget why, but he was like, it was almost like he was on to me or something, but he kind of didn't seem that bright about it. But anyways, so he was like, no, before you do that, I got an errand for you to run. And this is it sounds like it's entirely a personal thing, has nothing to do with work or whatever, but he wants me to go pick up a shipment from the governor. And okay. And I go over there and start talking to the governor. At some point in this, there's part of the conversation which is hilarious, where like it cuts over to Sarah, because Sarah's following me around still, right? She's my companion, and she's just not there. You hear her voice and you see the subtitles, and she's just not there. It's like, okay, great comment, Sarah. But the governor is like, okay, well, Peter over there, the corporate guy, he's got unpaid taxes. So if you want this shipment, you got to go do a favor for me. And so he wants you to fly out and destroy his stolen ship, which sounds weird, right? It sounds weird. That is something not adding up. You don't want me to get the ship back. You want me to destroy the ship because it's been stolen by pirates. Okay. Anyways, so I fly out there. I find the missing ship, and there's a guy on board asking for help. And I'm like, I don't know for sure what's going on here, but the governor's story is a little weird, so I'm not like trigger happy, right? So I go on the ship, and okay, they are pirates. They try to pull one over on you or whatever, and so they try to strong arm you or talk you into something or whatever. I think they want my ship. I think they're gonna try to take my ship, and I'm like, no, what? No. So anyways, so I start blasting. Blast through all the pirates and start looking around the ship and find that, oh, hey, the governor sent the pirates to this ship, and he was having an affair, and this girl got lost or something on the ship and then decided to kill herself. And so you've got all this evidence that, hey, he was just trying to cover up what was going on. So, all right, I've got the evidence. I've got the stuff from the girl, found her body and everything. And so I go back and I go to the authorities. I'm like, hey, this governor's crooked. So I find the guy, go to the main guy's desk there, and I tell him all about it. And he's like, oh yeah, thanks for telling us. We're gonna take care of this. We're gonna get the governor, all that. But it's like, hey, wait. Before I go, I'm trying to get this shipment from him. Can you help me out with that? And they're like, look, we will give you time to take care of the stuff that you need to take care of, and just go and do that. and we will, wait just a little bit and then go take care of the governor. So, okay, cool. Thank you. So I go over to the governor's office, and then I have a few different options. And while I'm, not generally a fan of lying, I think in this situation it's like, okay, I guess we will lie and just say that, hey, I did the job. I destroyed your ship. Now give me that shipment. What is hilarious to me is he does not question it. This governor is such a dummy. He's just like, oh, cool, thanks. You told me you destroyed the ship. You must have destroyed the ship. So there we go. Dumb person. Like I said, a bunch of dumb people in this episode. Yeah, so then I get the shipment. I take it back to Peter. And then I have access to his computer now to go through the messages and approve the request for the mining equipment. And so I approved the request for the mining equipment. But then it was like, I have access to everything. So it's like, oh, this guy wants to extend their vacation. And this guy wants, more drinks in the break room and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, I'll approve everything. We're approving everything. And then like looking through the messages and reading the different messages. And there's like one in there. It's like, Peter, I know you're a scumbag that doesn't read your messages. Blah, 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 blah. You're a terrible boss, etc., etc., etc. It's hilarious. Guy just went off on him because he knows the boss is a huge dummy. So we got dummy number one being the HR person that left her password open. Dummy number two being the governor. Dummy number three being Peter, the boss here. So let's get around to dummy number four. So I go down and I tell Trevor, it's like, hey, mining equipment, it's approved. It's all good. And of course, Starfield doesn't worry about things taking time or anything, right? And so apparently the seconds it took me to walk downstairs, all of this other stuff has happened. And so he says that this guy, Hank, volunteered to go pick up the mining equipment. And he thought, I guess that was a little weird or whatever. He said like, oh no, we'll get it. But the guy just insisted. But it's taken him a while. It's like, okay, that's strange. I'll go talk to the guys at the dock, see what they say. Guys at the dock say, he left. Oh yeah. He left a while ago, and but he came back. Like, and he landed like somewhere else, kind of further away. It's like, okay, that's strange. But I guess somehow we got a lead to check the bar. He might be in the bar. Okay, so we won't go over to the bar. Start talking to this guy, and he just straight up blabbers about everything. So Hank is dumb guy number four. Oh yeah, and this is important. Trevor was like, whatever happens, just make sure you get the equipment back, right? So I'm playing my cards here, and I'm like, okay, Hank, I'm not gonna tell him what you did. All I care about is getting that mining equipment. So if you tell me where it's at, we'll make this all go away. And it's like, oh crap, yeah, you're right. You could totally turn me in right now, huh? I told you everything. It's like, yeah, you had no reason to tell a stranger that walked up to you about anything. Anyways, so then he's like, okay, thank you. So he leads you back to his ship, which is across town, and is a hilarious like slow NPC moment, because it's like he's walking at a certain speed that is much slower than the speed I could walk. So I'm like, okay, Hank, and he's talking along the way about why he was doing anything. He wanted revenge for whatever. He signed on to this contract, and he wants to get out of it, and it's all this stuff. All right, hates his job, wants to get back at him. But we get there to his ship. Dummy pulls a gun on me. Because now he thinks he's going to cover up everything by shooting me. But I'm able to use my persuasion skills, my empath skills, and say, hey man, I know what you're going through. I don't think you want to do this. It's just going to make everything worse. And he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And... But then I'm like, well, but you just pulled a gun on me, so how can I trust you? He's like, here, I'll give you my gun. It's like, okay. And then I could basically convince him that the best thing that he can do is to turn himself in, and maybe they'll go easy on him. And he's all for that. He's all good with that. And so we go to turn him in. I walk him back to the security office, talk to another guy there. And then what was hilarious is I'm like, I see the waypoint on the security guy's thing, but it's not letting me turn the guy in. What am I supposed to do? And it's like, oh, I had to wait for Hank to catch up to us. Okay. And then everything is just all fine, and Hank walks and sits in his cell, and we're all good to go. Mission complete. But it was so easy and so strange. Just the way it went down, just his attitude. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Trevor gave me so much stuff for rewards that like I became encumbered, and so I had to go figure out what to do with it. But still, good stuff. A bunch of dumb people, but fun times. I mean, some of it obviously they're intentionally dumb, but yeah, there's some turns there. But thank you for checking out Bloodworth Starfield Diaries. If you like what you see, be sure to check out other stuff we've got going on our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of reviews and previews up, and everything that we do is funded by our community. So check out patreon.com/easyallies to keep things going. And next time we are going to make some space for space. Go exploring. All right, thank you.
Thanks for all your help. We couldn't have done it without you.